I made the transition out of the military, but I didn't want to stop pushing my limits or protecting the nation. So I joined the CIA. Now I conduct strategic operations and intelligence activities globally. It's a career that draws on my significant military and leadership experience. Keep serving our nation's interests. Join the CIA's Directorate of Operations. Visit cia.gov/careers to learn more and apply.
If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading, and thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. Man, check this out. On this episode, what I want to talk about is injuries, more specifically the injuries that you get as you get older. First and foremost, let me apologize if I sound a little off. My voice has been through it the last couple of days. I was yelling and lost my voice, but it's slowly but surely coming back, so I apologize that it doesn't sound as sexy as it normally does. That being said, I came to this topic, man, just because we all are getting old. Today is the oldest that you've ever been in your entire life. And with any luck and any, prayer, you'll get to see tomorrow, and you'll be older tomorrow than you have been any other day in your life. And that's a part of the process. We learn early in life that we live, and all living things must die. Now, we're not trying to check out of here at any time nearby. We want to live, obviously, as long as we can. But one of the things that I found is that as you get older, your body just can't do things that it used to do. It's funny because I was just scrolling through Instagram the other day, and I came across this video, and the video is from my homeboy, Uncle Dolomite, from the Too Much Game podcast. Shout out Uncle Dolomite, the homie. There was a video where he was playing basketball, and he crossed the guy over, came through the lane, and dunked it. And Uncle Dolomite's about 6'1" maybe. And so, but he had hops, and I was like, so I called him when I saw the video, and I was like, hey man, was that an AI video of you from like 10 years ago? And we laughed about it, but he was just like, that was how he used to hoop back in the day. And this was back in the day was like, 10 years? So I'm 52, Dolomite's 42. So he was doing this at like 30, 32, right? And so he said that's how he used to hoop. He used to get up and, dunk on fools. And that was his pleasure. And we kind of talked about how, athletically, as you get older, you just can't do certain things. Like you just have to understand that your body has endured a lot of wear and tear. And, as someone who played sports all my life, I played football from the time I was 8 until all the way through college at South Carolina State University. I always prided myself on, how my body felt and how my body reacted, and I could just do anything. And when you're younger, you really and truly think of yourself as Superman or Superwoman. Athletically, there's nothing that you can't do. As I was talking to Dolomite, I was remembering, the times where when I was in college and me and the homies, we would go shoot and play basketball. We would play basketball, not indoors, but outside on the blacktop. There was a court called Brookdale in Orangeburg, South Carolina. It wasn't far from the campus of South Carolina State University. And me and the homies, man, we'd go hoop at Brookdale. I mean, we would go to Brookdale, especially in the summertime, at least every other day, if not every day. And I'm talking about it's at least, 94, 95 degrees out there. And then you add the other heat with the humidity from just being outside in Orangeburg, which was crazy in and of itself, and the humidity. So you're easily playing in 100-degree weather, right? And I literally would pull up in the car, jump out, jump on the court. No stretching, no nothing, no warm-ups. We were young. We were 20, 21 years old. Who stretches to go play pickup ball at 21? I sure didn't, because I didn't have to. But as you get older, man, I realize I have to stretch for everything. Like, as I'm currently doing this podcast, I really feel like I have strained a muscle in my back right hamstring. And here's the weird thing. I strained it. I really think I strained it from walking. But the problem was when I was walking on an incline on a hill, I didn't stretch, right? And so I have to kind of remind myself, like, Kyle, you are 52 years old. You can't do what you used to do athletically. And again, this is just a walk in the neighborhood. This is not, it wasn't like I was going to, to the Olympics or anything. And so, you're reminded that as your body gets older, even though your mind tells you that you can do anything, and you can, your body is a subtle reminder to you that you can't. And here's the thing. Getting old isn't a bad thing, because if you stop getting old, then you die. Like, and ain't nobody trying to die, right? But at the same time, your body is like a car. If there's a weird sound one day, that sound ain't going away. So it's the same with your body. If there's a pain or an ache, it's there for a reason, and it's not going away. It's just really about how much you can deal with it, or if you feel like you need to seek some type of medical attention, or you need to treat it yourself. In this case, I think the hamstring thing for me currently, it's fine. I'm okay when I'm sitting down. If I start walking, or I start walking fast, it'll remind me that it's there. It's not something that's unbearable. I've dealt with it for the better part of the last week. And I know my body pretty well, in the sense that if I keep pushing myself, it'll eventually go away. This is something very, very small. This is something I can deal with. There have been times in the not so distant past where I couldn't deal with things. For instance, I remember about 3 years ago, I went to sleep and I woke up, and I slept a regular, normal night's worth of sleep, probably 7 hours of sleep. And I woke up and my elbow was hurting. And I found that to be odd, because I don't, I know how I sleep. I sleep in different positions, but, I don't think I was in a weird position, and I didn't feel any pain or anything as I was sleeping that night. The funny thing that happened was, when I got up, I could barely lift my arm, up above my shoulders. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. So I could not raise my arm any higher than what you see on the screen. And so I actually had to have my wife help me put my shirt on that day. And she was like, "Oh, you need to go get that checked out." And I was like, "No, I'm okay. I'm cool. Me being, I'm a man, I went to sleep. Like, I didn't do anything. It'd be different if I, did something bad, or I strained my elbow or something like that. But I didn't do anything. And so the pain went from my elbow to then my shoulder. So by the time I started moving around, the pain was no longer in my elbow. It was in my right shoulder. And it literally, by lunchtime that day, it felt like I had pitched a 10-inning baseball game and I threw a no-hitter. Like, I've never had that kind of, it wasn't really pain, but it was more discomfort than anything else. And I'm still sitting there trying to figure out, like, what did I do last night? Like, it wasn't like my wife was sleeping on my arm, or I was sleeping on her or something. How couples are, you get cuddled up and stuff like that in the bed, but it wasn't even anything like that. It was just, I just woke up in a lot of discomfort. And so I let it go on for about 2 weeks, and I stopped working out, because at the particular time and I thought back, I said, well, maybe I was asking myself, maybe it was something I did in the gym. Well, the 2 previous days before that, I had I'd done leg workout. So it was, you're coming off a leg workout. If you're doing leg workout, you're not doing anything as far as your upper body is concerned. So it wasn't like I had pulled or strained something in that particular time. So now I'm extremely frustrated because I have this injury now and I don't know what happened, right? And so against my will, I went to the doctor. My wife, she said, hey, look, you got to go to the doctor. Because I tried, taking the Tylenol and stuff like that, and it helped, but it was still some discomfort. Again, not a lot of pain, but just discomfort. If you think about it, I mean, if you're sitting at a desk most of the day, you're not doing much with your shoulders, right? But at some point in time, you're going to lift something or you're going to move something or you're going to, and I remember what made me go to the doctor was that I was cooking dinner that particular night, and I went to reach for the cabinet where we keep our spices, and I went to grab some pepper, and I had the sharpest pain flow from my elbow through to the top of my shoulder. And man, it felt like I've never been shot in that, and I don't ever want to be shot, but it literally felt like I got shot. Like my arm immediately went down and I yelled, and my wife was like, you need to go to the doctor tomorrow. And so suffice to say, I went. And so I went and they ran a bunch of tests. I feared that I'd torn my rotator cuff, which would be wild because I know a couple of people, my mom included, who have torn their rotator cuffs and, subsequently had to have surgery. And my mom, she had her surgery, probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And because she's in her 70s, I mean, obviously the recovery time is much, much different than, someone like me. But I feared that. And so I was like, I don't want to go to the doctor, but I know, I'm always going to the doctor to get my checkups and stuff like that. So I get my physical follow-ups and everything like that. So I'm constantly at the doctor, check, because I want to make sure that I know, because I don't know what's going on inside this engine. But I want to make sure that the engine is running smoothly, or as smoothly as it can be. Long story short, there was no determination after they did x-rays and MRI. They couldn't determine what it was. It wasn't a torn rotator cuff, but he said that, the years of playing football, the years of lifting weights, he said it probably just, you probably just have really just strained this muscle really, really bad. And you may have twerked or twitched or something like that during your sleep and aggravated. So that was the case. And he gave me this rubber band that I had to use, and I had to use the rubber band to keep, and I would be at my desk just stretching my arm and stuff like that. So, but I said all that to say this, like, you can be injured. You can have injuries in the most tame ways possible. You don't have to be outside trying to lift, a shovel or shovel some dirt or something like that to throw your back out. You don't have to be running a full sprint to pull a hamstring. I mean, like, anything can happen. And as we've gotten older, I've got friends who have had surgeries. Like my homeboy Melly Mel, he had hip surgery a couple of years ago. My boy Mo's had hip surgeries on both hips, and I watched those guys have hip surgeries and recover from them successfully. But it's just wild to think, like, the wear and tear that you would have on and these are guys that are in good shape. These aren't big fat guys, big fat sloppy guys. To have that kind of wear and tear on your body over a period of time. And, obviously some of it could be attributed to playing football, as we did through college. Some of it could just be the wear and tear that you have just through everyday life. It could be through lifting weights. I mean, like for instance, my boy Mo was someone who played, even after we finished playing football in college, for the better part of the last 15 years, Mo has played basketball in a gym almost every day until he had his first hip surgery. He was playing basketball. He would go to the gym at 4 a.m. They run.
After I transitioned from the military, I joined the CIA. Now I conduct strategic operations and intelligence activities globally as a Directorate of Operations Officer. Keep serving our nation. Visit cia.gov/careers to apply.
When you manage procurement for multiple facilities, every order matters. But when it's for a hospital system, they matter even more. Granger gets it and knows there's no time for managing multiple suppliers and no room for shipping delays. That's why Granger offers millions of products in fast, dependable delivery, so you can keep your facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
In June 2026, the world's grandest tall ships and military vessels will sail into Norfolk, Hampton Roads, and the Chesapeake Bay region for Sail 250 Virginia. Join thousands of international crew members from over 20 nations for a week of festivals, fireworks, and the iconic Parade of Sail, a breathtaking tribute to global friendship and maritime history. Sail 250 Virginia is a once-in-a-generation event honoring the 250th anniversary of America. Together, we're making history again. Learn more at sail250virginia.com.
A couple of rounds, whatever like that. He'd leave at 7, go home, shower, get ready for work, and go to work. And he would do that almost every weekday. He would go hoop every morning. And I ain't talking about just shooting around. I'm talking about full court, 5-on-5 every day. And that's a good workout. That's a great way to stay in shape. But it's also, it could be wear and tear. And Mo probably weighs, 195 pounds, maybe, if that, 200 pounds at the most. But he's in shape. And so you don't necessarily have to be out of shape to injure yourself. It just happens. Sometimes it just simply happens. I'm reminded of, a story that I had, and I share it with people all the time. I remember just as a young person and being so athletic, I remember always being one of the quickest people on the court or on the field or wherever. And I just remember it was the first sign that I knew I was getting old. We were playing basketball, and I was probably in my early 30s, maybe mid-30s. I was probably about 35. And I'm still one of the fastest guys on the court. We're playing ball or whatever like that. And this guy came down, and I'm trying to check him. I'm D'ing him up, right? And he blew right by me. And in my mind, I'm telling myself, shuffle your feet, get in front of him. And I just couldn't. And it was a sobering moment because I realized I was no longer the fastest guy on the court. I was no longer the quickest guy on the court. And I was thinking to myself, like, this guy can get past me anytime he wants to. So I started fouling him. So I was just like, no, you're not going to just score on me at will, because I take pride in that. But the flip side of it is I realized that that was when my body was telling me, like, yo, you can't do this anymore. You can't. And you have to accept it for what it is. And it's interesting, as many of you know, I have 3 sons, and their ages 25, 22, and 18 at the time of this recording. They are always trying to get me on a basketball court. I'm never getting on a basketball court with them. Not only just for bragging rights, but the thing is, I don't want to be that guy. What guy? The guy that goes out there at 50 years old and pops his Achilles because he's trying to prove something. I ain't got a damn thing to prove. So I can talk trash from the sidelines. I can shoot baskets if I want to, but I repeat, I am not stepping on a basketball court pretty much to do anything. And it's not that I don't have the skill. I think I can still play, but why? For who? For what? I ain't on scholarship anymore. There's no need for me to go outside and run a post corner route to catch a pass. I'm not getting paid for it. And quite frankly, if I pull something, I'm going to end up paying. So it's not worth it. I do remember one of my favorite stories, and it's a comical one. And this happened probably maybe about 2010. Yeah, maybe 2009. I was coaching Cameron's football team, my son Cameron. I was coaching his football team, and I was one of the assistant coaches. And the head coach had to talk to the parents. So he was like, hey, Coach 12 Kyle, can you go run the scout team defense? I mean, run the offense against the defense, the scout team offense against the defense. I was like, sure. And so we're just running plays, just showing the defense what our opponent is going to be doing this coming week as far as football was concerned. And one of the plays was a quarterback bootleg. So you fake a handoff, and then the quarterback spins out and goes around the left end. Well, we didn't have a quarterback. So I was stepping in being the default quarterback. Now, keep in mind, I'm playing against 10-year-olds, right? And so obviously I'm faster than a 10-year-old. So even at, 40 something or whatever I was. And so I'm okay. I'm cool, but I'm not. And it's a brisk day. It's a fall day. I remember I had on sweatpants, and I just distinctly remember, because the thing was, they weren't supposed to tackle me. It was supposed to be, because coach is the only one who's playing that's not in pads. You just touch him, right? So just touch coach. And so the kids, they were excited or whatever like that, and we were talking trash or whatever. And so this play comes. And so I fake the handoff, I hide the ball, and I spin out to do the quarterback bootleg. Well, one of the kids was trying to touch me. And so he was the defensive end, and he tried to touch me. So I tried to get away from him. And I something said, well, hey, just turn on the jets just a little bit just to get past him. And as I went to turn on the jets, which is, because I'm probably running at about 3/4 speed at this point. And I try to go full speed, and I go full speed, and then I hear it. Something pops, and I literally hear pop. I'd never heard a sound like that before in my life. The next thing that I know, I get this sharp pain that shoots maybe from my inner knee on my right knee up through my groin, through my stomach. And I go down. If you had seen it on film, you would have thought that somebody sniped me from about 20 yards away. I immediately fell to the ground in pain. And in falling to the ground, I dropped the football. And so the kids pick it up, and they're running the other way to score a touchdown. And everybody's going crazy because they're running and they're about to score a touchdown. The defense is about to score. And they're down there celebrating in the end zone. Meanwhile, their coach, 12 Kyle, is on the ground in the fetal position. I had popped my groin. Listen, I don't know if any of you have ever pulled a groin or popped a groin. That pain is, I'm not even going to say it's like being pregnant, because I've never been pregnant and never going to be pregnant. But I would imagine that if that pain were that severe, then no woman should ever be pregnant. Because listen, I was on the ground in pain, and none of the kids cared about me. All they cared about was the fact that the ball was on the ground and they were scoring. And I just remember laying there, and then somebody said, "Coach, are you okay?" And I looked up, and I had dirt on my face, on the side of my face. And I got up, and they helped me up, and I couldn't walk. Like, I was like limping really, really bad. And they were like, "Coach, are you okay? You okay?" And so here's the thing, folks, particularly in a sport like football, if someone ask, "Are you okay?" your first and natural reaction is to say, "I'm good. I'm good." Old 12 Kyle wasn't good. So yeah, I told that story just to, reiterate, like, you can't do those things. Like, you have to understand that sometimes you're going to get injured just because you're older. And then other times when you're doing athletic type things, injury is going to happen, and you have to prepare yourself for that, or you have to, at the very least, stretch. Stretching is so important. I mean, and had I stretched before I went out there with those kids, I would have never popped my groin. But I was literally in pain. And the thing is, when you pop a groin, there's really not much you could do. I mean, like, if it's severely popped, then you have to have surgery. I didn't have to have surgery, but I had to basically stay off, from running or jogging or really walking. I walked, but I couldn't walk a lot. I just pretty much walked in the house because I was working from home. But I was at practice, and I mean, like, I would have minimal movements at practice and stuff like that. I learned to deal with the pain, but it rocked me for about 3 weeks. I was in some pain. And the only thing you can do is just rest. That's the most that you could do. They tell you, I mean, depending on the severity, I mean, like, you may or may not be able to have sex. I did not abide by those rules because I had to get it in. But that's another story for another day. But I said all that to say this. You have to listen to your body. We are getting older. We are getting older by the day. I mentioned on here before, like it wasn't until I turned 50 that I started having issues with my allergies. I'd never been allergic to anything before in my life. And I go to the ear, nose, and throat specialist, and they tell me that, hey, you're allergic to about 100 different trees in the state of Georgia. So, hey, if you're going to walk around your neighborhood, if you're going to be outside, cutting your grass, put a mask on. So that's what I do. When I cut my grass, I'm riding on my lawnmower with a mask on. If I'm walking in my subdivision, I'm walking around with a mask on. And it's cool if it's wintertime, but it's kind of rough to walk the subdivision in the neighborhood with a mask on if it's 95 degrees, because it's hard to breathe in that mask in 95 degree weather. I don't care who you are. But I've been, and I take an allergy pill. That's the only pill that I take. But I know people who take blood pressure medicine and they're in their 40s or 50s. And, so we have to be very careful and mindful as to what's going on with our bodies. If you do nothing else, make sure that you go see your primary care physician at least twice a year. Definitely once for your physical and then any other subsequent follow-ups. And don't skip those. Those are very important. Your blood pressure, they can tell you what you're dealing with or whatever like that. And they can give you things that you can do to, help yourself. Really not much I can do about my allergies. I take, like I said, an allergy pill, and I take the Zyrtec each day, and it pretty much keeps me cool. And I haven't had the issues that I had once in the past, but as far as injuries, that old elbow injury, that old shoulder injury, I know when and when not to push myself. When I do lift weights, I'm not in there trying to be the Incredible Hulk. So my advice to you all would be just understand that you can injure yourself, particularly as you get older, doing any physical activity. Sometimes you could be sleeping and injure yourself. And for those of you who like to swing from the lights in the bedroom, hey, I'm not telling you not to get freaky. Be careful. That's all I'm saying, because you can, and you just might, injure yourself as you get older. By all means, get down, get busy, but be careful, and this is going to sound a little strange for some. You may want to stretch. You may want to stretch, because listen, there's nothing worse than having your body contorted and you subsequently catch a cramp. Fellas, am I lying? I know I'm not lying. I know I'm not the only one. But in conclusion, injuries do happen. It happens to the best of us. It doesn't mean that you're out of shape. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that we're getting older. And like I said, your body it's like that car engine. If you hear something or you feel something one day, it's not going away. It's probably going to be there for a while. So as long as you hear it or you see it or you feel it, take care of it, because it's only going to get worse if you don't. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We drop new episodes every Thursday and every Sunday at midnight. If you're on YouTube, thank you for watching. Make sure that you download, subscribe, and share the podcast with all of your friends. We also have a new baby. It's called the Rap Soul Podcast. It is a music podcast. It is the best music podcast that you've never heard. On that podcast, we talk about artists and music when it comes to hip hop, R&B, rap, and soul music. Like I said, it's the best podcast that you've never heard. We drop new episodes every Monday and every Friday. So you're getting 4 episodes each week. Tap in and share it with a friend. If you want to contribute to the podcast financially, hit us up on Cash App, $TWELVEKYLE. Also, we have merch. Look in the description box. There's a link that says merch. Click on that link. You can buy 12 Kyle podcast t-shirts, hoodies, as well as coffee mugs. We got it for the low. Again, that's going to do it for me. I am your boy 12 Kyle. I'll catch you guys next time. 5 G's. Gia.
If you work in university maintenance, Granger considers you an MVP, because your playbook ensures your arena is always ready for tip-off. And Granger is your trusted partner, offering the products you need all in one place, from HVAC and plumbing supplies to lighting and more. And all delivered with plenty of time left on the clock, so your team always gets the win. Call 1-800-GRANGER, visit Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done. This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.